Good morning, dear students. Today we will study John Donne's holy sonnet, Death Be Not Proud. Let us first read the sonnet, Death Be Not Proud. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and souls' delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell, and poppy or charms can make asleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Death Be Not Proud is one of the 19 poems in Donne's Holy Sonnets, the anthology which contains the core of the poet's religious verse. Most of the sonnets are written with as much passion as are the poet's celebrated love poems. But the passion in these divine poems is more complex. As David Dacius puts, it is that mixture of hope and anguish that characterizes the religious man searching for the right relationship with God, aware both of his own unworthiness and of God's infinite greatness. The sequence of 6 sonnets on death and judgment, of which Death Be Not Proud is the last, is a poignant expression of the poet's agonizing memory of his own sins, as well as of his immense trust in the redemptive power of Christ, the Son of God. Most of the holy sonnets reveal an implicit fear of death. However, the tone of Death Be Not Proud is one of remonstration rather than of fear. The poem opens with a direct chastisement of death for its haughtiness over the mightiness and dreadfulness ascribed to it by some people. The poet asserts bluntly that death is neither mighty nor dreadful. It is sheer vanity on its part if death thinks that those who are overthrown by it are killed once and for all. Death is not the end of human beings on earth, and it will not be the end of the poet either. In the holy sonnets, O my black soul, and This is my play's last scene, Donne compares human life on earth to a pilgrimage. When the pilgrimage is completed, the pilgrim has to return to his original abode where life is eternal. Hence, death is merely the end of a journey, the end of a sojourn. Relaxation and sleep are shadows of death, insofar as they provide a respite, however brief, from the worries and cares of life. If these can provide so much pleasure, then the ultimate relief given by death should be much greater. Sooner or later, even our best men opt for this relief. At any rate, death has nothing to be proud of, because even when it steals the best men, it is only doing them a service by giving rest to their tired bones and salvation to their immortal souls. Death is subject to the arbitrariness of fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. All these can cause somebody's death, according to their whim and fancy. That which is a slave to such arbitrariness has nothing to be proud of. Moreover, death's dwelling places are in such noxious, such damaging things or events as poison, war, and sickness. Returning to the idea of sleep and relaxation, Donne once again asserts that drugs and charms can induce in us much better sleep than death can. So death has absolutely no reason to swell, to be proud of, over the fact that it provides rest to man. The argument now seems contradictory, as the poet had earlier spoken of death as the ultimate relief. The contradiction owes itself partly to Donne's fear of death, submerged beneath the bold facade of challenge put up by the poet. However, it is not a flaw if we take into consideration the paradoxical nature of the whole argument, which reaches a climax in the last two lines. The final blow of the poet's crushing reasoning on death comes in the last two lines. One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Death is not a conqueror. It is merely an instrument which liberates man from his mortal body and elevates him into the world of eternity, where death has no power whatever. Hence, death is self-destructive. When it kills, it is dying itself. It is transporting man's life to where that life will be beyond the faintest influence of death. Coupling passion with reason is characteristic of all metaphysical poetry, particularly of Donne's poems. The personification of death is addressed with downright passionate severity in Death Be Not Proud, and the reasons for the admonitions are listed with logic that is meticulous despite the paradoxes. The passionate ratiocination gradually strips death of all its ascribed mightiness and finally leaves it in a paradoxical situation. Death, thou shalt die. Paradox, please note, is an incidental device which occurs quite frequently in the argumentative stanzas of much metaphysical verse. It adds to the persuasive powers of the ratiocination. Death has always been an intriguing topic in literature. Writers have been confounded by the idea of death and the unknown afterlife for centuries. Some people believe death is the end of all things because nothing can withstand it. In this sonnet, Donne gives his personal understanding of death and demolishes two popular concepts. Firstly, death is dreadful, and secondly, death is mighty. And the victory of Christian resurrection over death is the last nail in the coffin of death. And the poem proves the thesis that death is neither terrible nor powerful. So I'll stop at this point and I will ask you to read the poem carefully. It is not a very difficult poem. Uh, Read it again, and if there's any problem, we can discuss on the group. Thank you.